Welcome to Live, Life Inspired Views for Every Day. My name is Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul. Last week, the podcast was about the art of conversation. I'd like to revisit that topic simply because there is so much. The last decade brought huge changes in our connections with our fellow human beings. So let's weed that out a bit. Our electronic devices have had a role in the way people connect with each other or do not. COVID was another assault to our connections, increasing the dependence on electronic devices to meet up and to work. Just as muscles atrophy or waste when not used, so have our communication skills suffered from the effects of smartphones and the COVID experience. Both provided an escape from meeting face to face. It is both easier and harder to be in relationship face to face. People often are finding it that easier to work from home. But in the long run, is that really the best for healthy communities and communications? I have a mission to help people restore those skills, to build our sense of community with each other. In my counseling classes, I teach my students to remember three adages: 7 to 11, the Mayo Shake, and stoop. 7 to 11 reminds us that we have 7 to 11 seconds to make an impression on someone. Mayo Shake comes from the experience I had coming to Mayo every year to see my endocrinologist. When he came into the exam room, he always reached out to me first, shake my hand, and greet me. I tell my students, always be willing to be the first one to reach out. Stoop comes from a Chinese proverb: stoop if the ceiling is too low, meaning always be on the same level with everyone you meet. Today, I received an email from a student who had just had a job interview. Sarah said, I applied the 7 to 11 and Mayo Shake and radiated confidence and engagement. I rocked the interview. And then she added, I was hired on the spot. Oh, congratulations, Sarah. We are a habitually fast paced society. It's hard to listen with distractions and interruptions, and there are plenty of those today. Meaningful sharing is often inhibited because conversation needs intimacy, a place where one can be vulnerable. The environment in which we often gather involves screens, loud music, and an assortment of other things to take our attention away from listening. Priya Parker wrote the book, The Art of Gathering: How We Meet and Why It Matters. She recently appeared in an NPR sponsored podcast called Life Kit with Mariel Segura, Sam Yellowhorse Kessler, and Malika Garib. The episode was entitled "Want to Cut Through Small Talk? Try Asking a Magical Question." Parker says, a magical question is a question that everyone in your group is interested in answering and hearing the response to. She goes on to say that these kinds of questions can cut through the small talk and reveal people's personalities. Isn't that where we really want to go? To learn about each other, to build a relationship? Last week I mentioned that when we are trying to talk with someone and the conversation just won't go anywhere, it feels like Velcro trying to attach to silk. Velcro and silk conversations, ugh. But when we find each other listening and responding with meaningful engagement, those are Velcro and Velcro conversations. They stick. Parker explains that magical questions allow people to really participate, to learn something about someone. Remember the Zulu greeting Sawubona from last week? It means I see you. The idea of magical questions really invites a knowing, so someone sees and feels seen. The magic in magical questions is that they truly nurture conversation. Parker says what makes them so fun is when everyone begins to lean in and wait for the answer, but also be excited to share their own. She gives some examples like, what topic could you give a 20-minute talk about with no preparation whatsoever? Or what is one rule you had growing up that, looking back now, you think was totally unnecessary or even a little funny? Or what is a favorite building in your community and why? Well, I'd suggest keeping a couple magical questions in your back pocket to pull out when you need something to ignite conversations. These will help you practice and conversations and connecting will become more and more interesting. We truly can build and rebuild our communities. In another article, I learned there have been recent surveys conducted globally showing that even though young people spend hours a day on their smartphones, a large number of them would like to spend significantly less time on their devices. In fact, according to the British Standards Institution, 70% of 1,293 16 to 20-year-olds feel worse after spending time on social media. 46% even stated that they would have preferred to be young in a world without the internet. The Harris poll, an American institute, found in a 2024 survey that many young people wished that TikTok, Instagram, or X had never been invented. Hmm. Humans need connection. Perhaps the trend is starting to go up. Connections, community, and communication. Magic. This week on your bathroom mirror, write, I will create 3 magical questions to use in building more meaningful relationships. Join me next Monday for Live, Life Inspired Views for Every Day. I'm Chris Meyer, and I'm a curious soul.